You see, I like to consider myself a charitable man. I get 4 Switch pre-orders and I chuck 2 of them back.
Ethan's the villain from Mad Max Fury Road.
I'm like Gru from Despicable Me, where he walks into the ice cream shop and freezes everybody in the line and then takes all the ice cream. That is me, dude. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm Ethan, as always. I'm joined by my good friends Kyle.
Hello, hello.
And Hunter. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
It's been a week, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a week from shadow drops
been
to nuclear bombs when it comes to
shadow
Nintendo.
drops.
Yeah. It's we've had plenty of fun. It's all fun here, Hunter. It's all fun in the world of gaming.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm exhausted. I've had a week off this week. I've not really done much, but it's been one of those things where I think it's just like you know, and we've been like this for a while. You know, you just go full steam ahead. It's been like since Christmas since I've actually had any time off. And you just have time off, and you're just like, I just want to do nothing. Like it's like that's it. I've run out of fumes. I'm dead inside.
Yeah.
And not in the normal way, just in like, you know. So it's good to be here. You know, after, you know, we've had plenty of games, the wonders of Expedition 33.
Yeah.
We have got Oblivion, that, yeah, as Hunter said, shadow dropped out of nowhere, and we had Nintendo launch a I don't know, drop a bomb basically on the internet
Another
as everything
successful
went down.
pre-order from Nintendo.
From everybody nowadays. It's all good fun.
And
yeah.
nothing went wrong.
Nothing could go wrong. Nothing possibly could go wrong. But hey, we'll talk all about it this week. We've got plenty of stuff. I played LA Noire as well. Wow, we'll talk about all sorts of stuff. And Cal's just here to cause chaos. That is what we're here to do.
That's what's in my contract.
So we'll see where the wind takes us. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I say, Hunter, you've been playing Expedition, so
I have, yeah.
It's fun. And yeah, we've got loads to talk about. So hey, we might as well dive straight into it, really. I've not got anything that I wanted to bring up. Is there any housekeeping that needs to be brought up before we get started?
I do have something I want to bring up.
Okay, go for it.
I want to, before we get started, I just want to give a quick congratulations to our friend Sam. He got married.
Oh, nice.
So, Congrats to you, my dude. We're very happy.
Oh, hell yeah. Why am I finding this out on the HGO? Why am I finding this out on the podcast? That's what I want to know. Excuse me? You're on it.
I wasn't kidding. He's here to cause chaos.
I was chatting with him yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And he just dropped that on me.
Oh.
Respect.
But
well,
yeah, he and the missus got married today. So,
congratulations.
Very happy for you, my dude.
Congrats to him.
Very much so. That's crazy. Anything else? Have you got anything else? Have you got any other news that you want to drop on everybody, Kyle?
Could you imagine? No, I don't. No, I don't have any other news.
That's crazy. Anyway.
I am leaving the show forever. Goodbye.
This door doesn't
surprising.
go anywhere.
Yeah. Kevin Miller not
this
in the
door's
closet.
not even real.
Yeah. Hate to break
It's just painted on.
No, that's crazy. But no, yeah, congrats to Sam and Stevie. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about video games, I guess. Yeah, let's ignore that. Let's put a pin in that one and move on to Expedition 33. We're starting with Expedition 33, mainly because Hunter has probably put far more time into Expedition 33 than I have put into Elder Scrolls. And also just because I think this is a more interesting game to talk about, because I think if I see one more person on Twitter and or Blue Sky go, oh, Expedition 33 is shaking the game industry to its core and stuff like that, because turns out, yeah, you can make a really good game with a team of 30 people. Who would have guessed it, ladies and gentlemen? I never would have saw that one coming. But it is
to be fair, it's something that seems obvious, but in practice, I don't know, the industry at large seems to believe it's impossible. So,
and I think that a lot of it comes from, how can it look this nice and be made by 30 people, as if it's like, not that we have an incredible problem with bloat in the industry when it comes to the amount of people that are on teams and the amount of content that needs to go into games. And, I'm just sitting here, like I say, I've been playing a lot of LA Noire, and I'm sitting there, and it's like there's this massive open world in that game that doesn't need to exist, and there's 100 collectibles in it that don't need to exist, and I'm just sitting there going, yeah, maybe it's gameplay design decisions like this that are the reason why, smaller teams with more focused goals like Expedition 33 can make what they're doing and do it at a really, high quality. But yeah. Hunter, how many hours have you put into Expedition 33?
I would say I probably have got like 7 or 8 hours in it, is what I would wager. I didn't really get to play very much of it on the release day because I had a dentist appointment, so I didn't get the game until like 7 p.m. So
Blame the
didn't
dentist.
leave much
Blame
for
the dentist.
Excuses.
didn't leave much for more than the opening segment there. But I played pretty solid amount of it today. So yeah, I'd wager probably like 7 or 8 hours.
And for those of you who are unaware, do not know the kind of the history of Clair, is it Clair Obscur Expedition 33? I feel like it
Yes,
has.
Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the
Still
full
don't like the
title.
name. I still don't like the name. I think that's like the first thing I said when we saw this at Xbox last year, and I'm like, this game looks great. Not a fan of the name, but it's fine because it's like Expedition 33 is the subtitle, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay, but it's
And then
basically
Clair Obscur is relevant to like it's like a painting term actually, is the way that the light is balanced on that. So it's relevant to the antagonist of the game.
But yeah, it's essentially it's a new IP. It's developed by a team of 30 odd people in France, and it's basically a smaller. Again, where does the line between indie and I don't know where we define this at nowadays. I feel like there's no difference really. I feel like it's just independent. Is do you have a big studio's backing? Which is like, does this game have a backing, Hunter, because of Xbox? Because they've been, giving them a lot of money for Game Pass and stuff. Where's the line anymore? I don't know
You
where the
know,
line is.
if they just drop Oblivion on them in like the same 48 hours of allegedly trying to help them out, then maybe I would say you have a point, but
It's crazy. Anyway, it's made by a small team in France, but has had this big push from Xbox because it's a day one Game Pass release, and I don't know. It's been in the circulation for a while. You've seen trailers. You've seen what it's like. Ben Starr's in it. It's that second Ben Starr game that everybody has been
yeah.
talking about. It's got a wild cast. This game does.
Oh, dude,
Andy
it's
Serkis is
insane.
in
Like
it.
Andy
You've got
Serkis is in it. Charlie Cox,
Charlie
who is
Cox.
Daredevil. Jennifer English, Shadowheart. She's one of my favorite characters that I've met so far right now.
Yeah, it's got a pretty stacked cast all over the place, and yeah, it's basically a French RPG. In the style of these old Japanese turn-based RPGs. Think of your classic. It's taken a lot of inspiration from classic Final Fantasy with your world maps and your turn-based combat that apparently Final Fantasy says is not viable nowadays. Just keep remembering that, guys. It's Persona and this and everything else, and Dragon Quest and everything else just does great with it. But it's all good fun.
Yeah, dude, Octopath was terrible.
It's true. It was mid.
Yeah, it's the solid 3 years in a row of Game of the Year nominations at the very least, and then also a winner with Baldur's Gate's turn-based combat. Then I guess I'm kind of jumping the gun, assuming that this would get nominated, but yeah, I could see it happening.
It's getting to be quite a
this
stacked
came out
year.
swinging with a 91. Like,
yeah,
It's wild, right? It feels like a big year. It feels like a big year because we're not even into the we're still at the first half at this point, and I've already heard this is like if we go back to 20 It Takes Two 2021 for example. It's like Split Fiction would 100% win that year if it came out, and now we're having that many
yeah.
games where it's like, will Split Fiction be even talked about by the end of the year? And it got a 90 as well, and we're just sitting there going, oh, we're in one of those years where 90s might just be ignored because we're getting to the point where it's like, Ghost of Yote, Death Stranding 2, if GTA shows up, if Hollow Knight shows up, which it seems to want to think that it will do. It's like there's plenty of games that are even, there's still so much that's still coming out. And it's like, my God, it's crazy. Blueprints. Fucking Blueprints came out.
Yeah, Blueprints, also a very solid game.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a turn-based RPG, right, Hunter? It's a turn-based RPG.
Yeah, turn-based RPG that's taken cues from basically all of the great influences you could, but manages to do it in a way that um, is very additive to the overall product and identity of the game itself, I would say. Because, Persona 5, because it takes from Persona 5 in the way that, like, the menu in the combat is laid out, as far as, each face button is one of your key things to do, and then, you go from your abilities to your regular attack and so forth. But the actual like systems at play, I would say, are more akin to the classic Final Fantasy, like you mentioned, um, such as one of the main uh, elements of progression that there are is these things called pictos, where you pick these up and they do like some kind of buff for you or an ability of some description, like your regular attack will do 50% stagger. And after you use it for so long, you've mastered it, and you don't need to have it equipped to be able to use it
You just
anymore.
have access to it.
Yeah, it's like your
Yeah.
class, like, you know.
It's like the thing I think of is the AP system in Final Fantasy IX is where my head goes, where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could do stuff like that. You have a limited pool of like points for that AP to pull from, so you do still technically have to go and like allocate that in
Mm.
that regard. But you don't have to have like the actual item. The nice thing about this is if you master it with one character, that's mastered for everybody.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
yeah, you don't have to go and like mix and match to make sure that this person has this, so that now I can put it on this guy and all
You're
that.
not
You
sitting
just
there
if you
with
get
your Xenoblade 3 classes where it's like everybody on Gunner because I want that one trait on everybody. It's just like, yeah, okay, everyone gather around. Everyone's going with guns for 3 hours. That's But yeah,
but
I was looking at the systems. It's like I remember the developer direct, and they were like, they did the worst thing you could possibly do, which is just show a big ass menu because they basically showed what this Picto menu looks like near the end of the game, where there's literally like hundreds of these buggers just sitting there, and I just remember sitting there going, "Oh my god, that's so huge!" But it's like, I think what I've noticed from the little bit that I've been watching, I've not had a chance to play it yet. I've changed my mind. I am going to play this game just because of how glowing the reviews have been for the story in particular.
yeah,
That I'm like, oh, okay. Even if I don't feel like playing a turn-based JRPG, flick it down to easy mode and just plow through that story if I need to.
that's the spirit.
But just looking at how welcoming the game is, it's not sitting there straight away expecting you to know everything and just be it opens it up gradually. You're only seeing a certain amount of
Yeah, yeah,
pictos at
you're
the
not
start. You're
being
only being handed a handful of, obviously, uh, you're only on a team of 3. It's just like little bits like that. It feels very open and welcoming to the point where it's like it doesn't feel like one of those classic JRPGs where it just dumps everything on you within the first hour and then just goes, "Have fun, figure it out." Maybe not. I don't know.
I hope you remember this for the one situation it's helpful later.
Yeah, the
That
Xenoblade
kind of
2
thing.
effect of putting something in a tutorial in the first 15 minutes, and if you ignore it, then the next 50 hours is going to be a right pain. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
no, and like with the Pictos specifically, like it helps that I think the number of fights you need to have the thing equipped is like 4. It's not very many. Like I've like it all of the ones I've come across have been mastered so far, I believe. I'm not out there. Really the only reason people have them equipped after that is because, the pool of points for the AP stuff isn't very big yet.
mhm.
Yeah. And then as far as the way that the, you know, combat works outside of those, um pretty much it's like a combination of, I would say, like Octopath Traveler and like one of the Mario RPGs where you're out there, or maybe even Chrono Trigger, where you're out there like in between turns you're dodging and parrying the attacks for the enemies, but while you're doing that and doing a regular attack, you're generating, skill points or whatever, right? So you can, and each one costs like, you know, a certain number. I guess Octopath might not have been the best comparison because that's a boost thing you're doing there, but whatever.
You can parry. It's a weird hybrid. Obviously, on your turn, it's a turn-based RPG, very much so. But when it's the enemy's turn, it almost becomes it's an active. You don't just sit there. You're not just sitting there waiting for the enemy to do their turn, because you can be dodging, you can be parrying.
Yeah, you can dodge or parry, and you get bonuses for doing the perfect versions of either of those.
Yeah. You inflict damage on the enemy if you do a perfect parry, which is pretty sick. It basically just turns it into your turn again. It's like if you can
Basically,
recognize the patterns, it's not like Elden Ring or Dark Souls levels of recognizing patterns.
Yeah.
But it is just like, pay attention. If you know how to fight the boss, then you can just do some sick deflex and ruin their day.
yeah, and I think even if you just parry like enough times, if they're attacking you more than once in their turn, like if they do a combo or something, I think the counter will still trigger if you counter every hit. I haven't really figured out the science behind that yet, but that's what it feels like.
It just
Works.
works. It just works.
Yeah. Either way, it's relatively gratifying. You can turn that down and make it much more forgiving if you want, and I did for the sake of like comparison at one point while it was early on an enemy before I knew how the game was going to be about its checkpointing, which is luckily pretty darn generous, I would say.
Nice.
But yeah, so it makes it drastically easier to parry, and dodges are even easier to pull off. So yeah, but I don't think that the window is that bad for the normal difficulty anyway.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
it was pretty easy to get a
yeah,
handle on.
I think one tip that somebody said that I was like, don't think of it like Elden Ring or Bloodborne. Do not do it. Do not, if you're gonna parry, do not try and do it a couple of frames early. You need to do it like either on. It's more like a rhythm game. It's like on the hit or slightly after it, not before. Tends to be the way to go about it, which kind of
Yeah.
makes sense because it is still you aren't actually controlling the guy. You are just doing a button press, so it makes sense for it to be more of a feel to it than trying to do it early. But I like it. It's a very pretty game. That's the one thing is I look at this.
The art direction is incredible. Yeah, like it's all very good look. Like everyone's costume designs, fantastic. The opening area, like while you're walking through town for the first half hour or whatever, just these red and white petals everywhere on the city. It's very cool looking. And then later, when you get to the continent and are seeing monsters, that's something where some of the enemy design reminds me of FromSoft in a way. Like one of the things that attacks your crew when you first land is like this weird little monster that's face was made out of hands, and the hands like open up and it shot a laser or something. It was real cool.
No, I think it's really impressive, and it's like I say, it's just a little bit I've been watching. Like I said, I don't want to watch too much because I'm like I am gonna just play this game. So I was like, I'll do what I need to do to get through this podcast, and then I'll leave it at that. But it's just like watching the game, and it's just sitting there and going, 30 people made this. 30 people made this. And I just played Assassin's Creed Shadows that was made by hundreds of people. Also French people, because Quebec.
So French people.
And it's just like, I just sit there and I'm like, yes, obviously I'm comparing apples to oranges. I'm comparing a much smaller game in comparison to how big the open world is. But I'm just like, just in the quality of the assets, in the quality of the art direction, in the style, I just sit there and I go, man, there are going to be and I don't think Japanese developers should be worried at all because they're actually pretty good with their turnaround and the amount of people that are on this. But looking at Western game devs and going, okay, you're spending 6 years with 300 people, and this team has made quite possibly one of the best turn-based RPGs in years with like 30 people, and look how good it looks. And it's just like you just sit there and you're like,
Yeah.
Druckmann, what are you doing? Come on, Druckmann, you can do it. You can make it. You can make it to Galactic in less than 6 years. I believe in you. Like, good lord, please finish something. Can Sony finish something?
Yeah, but yeah, before we stray too far away from the like gameplay, because the last thing I got about that is each party members have like their own kind of flow and mechanics to them that I think does a great job at like making it interesting to get a new person. Like I've only got the 3 so far, but I suspect when I get like the next couple of people, I'll be like, ooh, can't wait to see how you do, because they've all been pretty entertaining so far, and I think that they flow into each other pretty well. Like Gustav, the main character there, his whole thing is revolving around building up the charge for his I think the attack is called overcharge, where basically you get 10 you get the 10 points, and he does like a super nuke essentially, where it hits for like 1,000 plus damage and
Hell
a
yeah.
lot of stun. Lune is like the magic caster who's just who has a lot of stuff available to her when you get her, and is just generally all purpose in that way. And her spells, like if you know it does the elemental effect thing, where if you do like fire and then freeze them or etc. It plays off of it that way. And I think Mael is my favorite one so far, because she's like a duelist where her stances switch depending on like which move you do. They flow into each other that way. She's got like 3 of them.
Nice.
An offensive stance, a defensive stance, and I believe the other one's like virtuoso, or whatever the French equivalent of virtuoso is.
Le Virtuoso.
Le Virtuoso.
Oui,
Yeah,
oui.
and with like
Stole my
the
joke.
with like the benefits and drawbacks that you could assume would be there. Offense, it's harder, but she takes more damage if the enemy manages to hit you, and so on. And that's about like, trying to cycle in and out of the stances without getting stuck in one, because I think there's a bonus that carries forward there. I think her playstyle is my favorite one so far.
Cool. Kyle, you're a
Yeah.
big RPG head,
Oh.
as we know. You got any questions? You got any questions, Kyle?
Nah, Hunter's been pretty concise with everything. It all sounds really cool.
Yeah,
I
it
might
is
check
very
this out.
cool.
Yeah, what's your
sometime later
excuse,
in the
Kyle? What's
year.
your excuse? What's your excuse?
I haven't
what's
said
my
the magic
excuse? I'm a
words
lazy
yet.
piece of
There's
shit.
no job class system, is what I've
Oh,
not
he's out
said.
now.
Bro, what my excuse is that I just don't feel like picking up a new game right now.
Nah, it's fair. I'm like,
What's my excuse? I decided to play Earthbound this week.
oh god, yeah. What the hell, dude? What the hell? I mean, to be fair, I
Hey.
also was like, it was weird. I was very much adamant where I was like, I'm sure this game's gonna be fine. I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. And then now that I'm like, the reviews have been so glowing, and apparently someone was like, oh yeah, this game's depressing as hell. I'm like, well, I must partake. So,
the tone of this
Don't
game
mind
is
if I do.
spectacular.
yeah, I need something to blame my mental illness on for the next month or so. So there we go. I'll blame it on Expedition 33. Perfect. How's the
That's
story?
the spirit. Oh, I've been enjoying it so far. Like the first opening 30 to 40 minutes is best described as, I would say, sobering. Like so the whole premise of the thing is this paintress showed up one day with her monolith, just, I believe, crashed into the world as it was, and flung the city that they're in, Lumiere, out onto the ocean. And every year she paints a number. It's just been counting down from 100, and that's like the cap for how old you can be before you perish. Is how it works essentially. Like people who are the opening one for this was for 34, so people who are 34, and there wouldn't be anyone
Fucking
who's
old, bye.
Yeah, pretty much. And like,
it's the internet, dude. You turn 34, goodbye. Like off to the old
Yeah,
road
people-
to you. Like get gone.
people who are 34 pretty much perish when that happens, which is, like, and it just keeps going down. It's not like she's picking at random, so the timeline on continued existence for anybody is running out.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did a really good job at setting the tone where Gustav there basically is saying goodbye to this old girlfriend that he had. They just reconnect for a day, and then she dies along with
She
everyone
gets
else who was
Xenoblade
saying
3, dude. She gets like Celu, off you go.
yeah, that's uh,
Mr. Daredevil, I don't feel so good.
oh yeah, but this was flower petals instead of dust, so it looked so much cooler than Marvel's thing.
That does sound cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it was
not
just
the dying thing, but like the visual.
dude, if I could turn into a pile of flower petals when I die, that'd be pretty cool.
It
It
would
is,
be,
yeah.
but I feel like that wouldn't fit your aesthetic.
Especially since my ideal way of perishing is I want to be ripped apart by a pack of raptors, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But, it would still be cool.
I love you, man.
No comment on that one.
But yeah, it did a really great job at setting the tone, and like they do a good job at like the general premise is depressing, but it's not like overbearing about it.
Not hitting you over the
Like
head
the
with it.
like the character to character interactions are still very human, and like there's moments of levity in between all of the, oh yeah, we're fighting to not die because this lady keeps painting on the giant stone kind of deal. Like, I really like Gustav and Mael's dynamic. It's like a, older sibling, younger sibling kind of deal, which is the, first conversation they'd be having in the game there is between those two. And it's a really solid one. And then later when things go belly up for the expedition, the dynamic between Gustav and Lune, or for a little bit, are the only two who they thought survived. Gustav is ready to like just bolt. He's like, this is way more than we bargained for. I need to get my L and leave." And then she's like, and Lune was more like, "Stick to the mission," which, you can see both sides of the argument. Mael is like a teenager, so she's off there fighting in this expedition well
She's got
ahead
a
of
good
time.
10 years, dude. She's got some, yeah, she's got like...
Yeah. Like, I think the number they gave was 9 before before the time would run out for her. But, yeah, so he was like, I need to get her and leave, and then I guess just live out the last year of my life as I was. But she convinces him to stay, and the story goes on from there. But they managed to drop little bits of intrigue pretty early on as well, I would say. So the great tone plus, little carrots on the stick there been enticing. I can't wait to get back to this.
No. Fair enough. Any other questions, Kyle? Anything else you got?
How's the music?
Oh, dude. It is. I spent like 5 minutes just sitting there appreciating not like the first song you hear. Like each song you hear is pretty good, but the first one when you have like control of Gustav there for the town is like really, really solid. Like I think I compared it to like Hollow Skies from Final Fantasy VII. Not the credit version, but the one that plays when you're in like Sector 5.
Yeah. Now, follow-up question. How's the battle music?
Also,
are you
pretty
tired
good.
of it, or
No, not yet.
will you be tired of it in 40 hours? Do you foresee yourself hitting mute?
No, I don't think I don't think any I don't think I get the same kind of fatigue with battle music that way. Because like, there are some themes that do keep their sauce the whole way through. The violin theme from Tales of Arise was great the whole time I heard it. There are other ones where it's like, if you switched, I wouldn't be upset. Metaphor.
No,
But,
we're-
uh, but I wasn't like actively angry at hearing it, or like a lot of the old Final Fantasy battle themes. I was fine with hearing all the
Yeah.
way through,
Mm.
like, but so time will tell. I think that I wouldn't be shocked if they switched it up halfway through because RPGs like doing that these days,
Totally.
Hmm.
Right. I've got nothing else. I've got you seem to like the game though. That's what it's like. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course you like it. Of course you like it. This is like, it's one of those games that I'm like, yeah, of course Hunter's gonna like it. What stupid question to ask?
It's right up my alley. I figured
Yeah.
as long as it would be, as long as they did it right, it would hit. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
like the whole element of doubt that a bunch of people had with it, though. Was like, oh yeah, we heard this story before. A bunch of former developers from bigger studio come together to make a game that they always wanted to make, and it didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monolith and Xenosaga.
It happens a lot.
or like even a few years ago with the Callisto Protocol or whatever.
Yeah.
That was relatively disastrous as far as financial situation, at least.
Mhm. But no, it seems to be, like I say, critically, it seems to be doing really well. Fan reception
think-
seems to be pretty positive. It's doing really well sales wise as well. I think it's sold. I think they've already sold over 500,000 copies or something like that for a team of 30 people.
500,000.
Good
Team
job.
of 30 people, yeah.
That's
Splitting
not include. That's
500,000 30 ways. That's solid.
I think there was 100,000 people concurrent playing on Steam, which is really impressive when you've got to remember that obviously it's a day one Game Pass game as well. So people on PC could be playing on Game Pass. I mean, you'd be stupid to do that because who likes the Xbox app? Like, that's awful. I bought Oblivion because I did not want to use the Xbox app, and then joke's on you, I bought Expedition 33 as well because I don't want to use the Xbox app. You can't make me Xbox. I'd rather buy my games. That and the games are super cheap. They were pretty cheap. They're not full price games, so I don't mind doing it.
This game was only $50, and like for whatever reason, my $5 discount for the month at GameStop redeemed twice when I purchased it. So I was like, oh, sick.
That's a deal.
Hell yeah.
I got it super cheap. I got it way cheaper than MSRP as well because I have a debit card, bank account, or whatever where it doesn't have any international fees. So I just went on a retailer's website and bought the American copy for global for Steam. So I bought it in dollars, which ended up being about £10 cheaper than it would have been normally because UK prices are garbage. So it's like I saved money as well.
And I saved money by not buying it.
Hooray! Yeah, it's
But
one
I
day.
didn't pirate it. I just didn't play it.
That's the spirit.
Dude, I'm too lazy to pirate anything. I'd rather just give people money. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It's like, yeah, just give it.
Didn't buy it.
Ethan would rather give them
lazy.
money and then not play it anyway.
It's so true. I would do that. I would rather do that. But hey, there you go. Love to see it. What's next on the docket, Kyle?
A game that you've definitely played.
I
this
played
week.
a lot of. I played a lot of. No.
Elder Scrolls 4?
Oblivion Remastered? Question mark? Can it be?
Shadow drop
Is it?
out of
Shadow
nowhere?
drop? What? Yeah.
What?
So if
Reaction face?
Yeah, if
Bottom
you live
text?
under a rock, then you might have not known that this game has been leaked for how many months now at this point? Like at least 2, right? We've known about this for a while. But yes, it is true. Bethesda decided to randomly announce and drop the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered on Tuesday. Why not on Monday when most people had a bank holiday? God knows. But hey, you do you. I won't judge. So yeah, this has been made by Virtuous, who you may know as working on quite a few remake remaster projects at the moment. The other big one that you might know is Hunter.
Is the Metal Gear Solid, right?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Okay, I couldn't remember if I made that up or not.
Good job, Hunter. Your prize
you
is...
said the name, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because like as far as I've last remembered Konami saying anything, it was not about who the specific team was. but you
Yeah.
know,
So yeah, they're working on Metal Gear Solid Delta at the same time. So I was interested in seeing this because obviously one, it's an interesting one. It just got shadow dropped out of nowhere. But two, what is this? Is it a remaster, remake? What, like, they're calling it remastered. I think it blurs the lines here, where I think that it is more of a remake than a remaster. But you know, we'll talk all about it. But yeah, they announced it. It shadow dropped to the point where it was actually out before they'd even told people that it was out. Like they had a 25-minute presentation. By minute 3, it was already on Steam. So you know, you didn't have to wait for them to tell you you could
Good job.
download it. You could just download it. But yeah, it's made by Virtuous with help from Bethesda, and this is where it blurs the line.
it's a
Essentially,
big week for France here.
yeah. Essentially, what this game is it's the original Oblivion, but they have basically done all of they've basically remade the world. All the core Bethesda code is underneath, but the game is running in an Unreal 5. So the graphics and all that engine has been remade entirely in Unreal Engine 5. So it's like this weird thing where you've got the old code running underneath of it. So it's technically the old game, but with a completely different engine on top of it.
So it's not like entirely from scratch. It's like the bones, but the muscle and skin is new.
Yeah, essentially, it is. Well, they've added to the code and stuff like that, but basically, it is they've taken the original game is running the original version of the game is the skeleton of this game, and then they
Yeah.
have Frankenstein's monstered an entirely different graphics engine and all sorts of stuff over the top of it, which ends
Like
up being
by observation, it looks more like Crash, the Crash remakes, or like Shadow of the Colossus or something. As far as
yeah. That's what I would say. It's, in my opinion, they have done enough here, and they have done so much here that this is a remake, not a remaster. I don't know why they're calling it remastered. It is a remake. They have added stuff to it. It is a new. They've completely remade the overworld they've remade the whole of the game from scratch in terms of graphics and all of the assets and stuff like that has all been remade by scratch in a new engine. So I don't know why they're calling it remastered. I think they're calling it remastered because they want to say, hey, it's like Bethesda. None of the Bethesda stuff's like, you know, it's still the same game, we swear. Because I feel like Bethesda fans are weird, where it's like, I feel like they want to let them know that their jank is still there and it's still very much, you know, the game that you remember. It's weird. I think it is the best way you could make one of these games. I think this is not necessarily possible with stuff like Crash Bandicoot, but I feel like if this is the way that they would have gone about it, I think that Crash fans would have been a lot happier if it was the same game and it felt the same, but there was just a new coat of paint over the top of it. I think that's kind of cool. Um, it's the truest remake or remaster that I've ever seen of a video game, and what I mean by that is they have kept every piece of jank. Everything that made that game Oblivion is there. The weird voice lines, the weird way that the camera zooms, the weird. They've left stuff in, like there were mistakes in the script and stuff like that, where the line would repeat twice. They've kept it in there they've literally everything that you remember, and they've done it on purpose. This isn't an accident. They have literally kept everything that made that original game so special. They've kept there because they know that fans are going to miss that. That all of the personality is there. Not game-breaking bugs, not massive stuff like that, but all of the things the quirky stuff that make 2006 Oblivion is still there. And I think that's kind of neat. I think it's really funny. I like it.
yeah. I that is a good. I would say that's good because I remember, during the, murmuring about this coming out, people were like, "Man, I hope they don't just sand off all the personality to give us Skyrim, but before or whatever."
Oh no, it is all still there. The stupid gods running at you and the camera zooming in on their face and going, "You have violated the law." It's still all there, and it's the exact same voice lines,
Yeah.
and they've all done all that goofy stuff. They have remade a lot of asset, like literally everything. The Khajiit, has particularly look completely different to how they used to look. They basically gone over everything and have made it look really cool. They've done stuff that they've added to it. So in the original game, there wasn't enough memory on the disc to have every race have different voice lines. So you had like the same guy voicing, you know, the gods of every race, but they've now decided, no, we've got the space now that we can go and record new voice lines. All the old ones are still there for the characters that you know, but here's a bunch of new stuff. I just think Virtuous have gone about it in such a respectful way that I'm like, no wonder it's done so well that people are vibing with it quite a bit. Because it is like, it's the perfect way to do a remaster, where it is like you get that visual thing where you're like, oh, it's pretty, look at it. But it's still the same game underneath. You still got the stupid systems, you still got that stupid lockpicking minigame that doesn't work properly, that is really annoying, but it's still there, and it's still like the way that you remember it. And I just think that this is just like, yeah, you wouldn't remake this game from scratch. Why would you? Because people would bitch about the fact that the annoying fan isn't doing weird stuff, and people, the amount of memes that you see from Oblivion that you just like, the most janky thing where my favorite one is the guy, you're talking to the guy and he just goes farewell, and the floor lifts up and he gets crushed and then the floor comes down and then a guard walks over to the guy and he goes, may he rest in peace, and then the platform rises again and he also dies. And it's just like, you've still got that. I was walking around the overworld and you've still got the weird interactions where people will just talk to each other and they just like, they're just very janky and they walk away. And I'm just like, this is great. Now it's also an Unreal 5 video game and these games run like ass. So there's like, is it the most optimized remake? No.
Oh, but that's still true to life, isn't it?
Still true
That's
to
still
life.
true to
Oblivion didn't
yeah.
run very well at the start. Have you played Skyrim originally on like 2011 Skyrim? That didn't run well either.
If you opened too many doors, it broke your save.
Yeah, if you spawned too much cheese, it would crash the game. It's just like, it has that kind of personality, and they've updated things. They've updated the HUD. They've added, one of the things I like is they've added a clairvoyance spell that wasn't in the original Oblivion. A lot of Oblivion's dungeons are really mazy and you can get lost, so they've added a spell that will just like spawn a little wisp of light that will fly towards the end, to the exit, so you can follow it to leave. They've added a load of quality of life differences. The actual combat feels a bit more impactful. They've changed little bits and pieces. But it's little nips and tucks that won't anger really like diehard fans of Oblivion, but make it a lot more accessible to people who did only play Skyrim. There are so many people that only played Skyrim because, spoiler alert, Skyrim's been out for 14 years. There are people who...
And released like 14 times.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it's really
Give it up for 15 coming soon with the new console.
Yeah. When they do Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim Remastered, they do the exact same thing.
Oh, they'll get at least one more without doing that with the Switch 2.
True.
And then they'll do that.
But I think it's really neat. I'm really impressed with the way that they've gone about it. It makes me a lot more optimistic for Metal Gear Delta. It feels like this is something that can be done, and I think Oblivion is a great example of what classes as, we all joke about Bethesda games being buggy, about Bethesda games being dumb and goofy and not working properly, but what that used to mean and what it means now, like from Starfield rather, to this, where it's like, oh, it was just really quirky, weird stuff, like guys just randomly saying like Khajiit's robbing
stuff
you and
that
then you're
wouldn't
stealing them back.
harm your experience.
Yeah. Like absolute goofy stuff, like weird camera zooms and all that jank. Like I say, people doing goofy stuff and then the floor lifting and then crushing them to death. Just like random stuff that's really funny. And then Starfield just being like a really buggy mess where it's just like, oh, you phased through the floor and you died. Oh, unlucky. It's just like, it's fun keeping that jank still there, and I really like it. There are parts of the game where I do sit there and I'm like, oh, nitpicks, which will be fixed with mods within 20 seconds, where I'm like, oh, the lighting's gone a bit more generic because, baked lighting used to have a load of personality. And this is in every game. I mean, we were having this discussion, last year, Kyle, when we were like, the dorms in Persona 3 Reload, why do they look weird? Like, where's the weird lighting? Why do we look like it's,
Well, You were having that conversation.
It's fine. I was having that conversation going, the dorms look
That
weird.
that shit doesn't bother me. I'm
Shit
the guy
bothers
that
me.
didn't notice the doors in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, yeah.
To be fair, I feel like lighting is a bit more of a
Yeah.
like
Yes.
that's way more. It's way more important to the setting the tone
Yeah,
of what you're
light is a
doing.
tone setter, and it's like
Like,
the dorm is supposed to be a bit like the dorm's lit up like it's a fucking stage, like it's just like rampant like that. And I think this game has a bit of it where it's like when I remember older Elder Scrolls games, when I think of Morrowind, when I think of Oblivion, Oblivion has like this kind of green like sepia like hue to it, which is just completely gone in the remake. Like there's no like because there's no baked lighting anymore. It's just a real time lighting system. It's like some of the way that everything like looks just doesn't hit the same. It still looks great. It looks beautiful. But it's like, just little bits and pieces where I'm like, I'm sure there's already a mod on Nexus Mods that has fixed that instantly because people do that. But it's pretty impressive. I like it enough. I'm not in the mood to play in 100 hours of an Elder Scrolls game right now, if I'm honest with you. So I only played it for about 3 hours. I wanted to get into the open world and muck about for a bit, see what I could get away with, and it seems to be working fine. It works great. It looks pretty good. It's a bit unoptimized, so maybe wait for a couple of patches. That's what kind of happens with these shadow drops. As games run a bit janky, even for Bethesda standards. I just remember I left the dungeon and my frame rate like cut in half, and I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
that's good. That's not concerning in the slightest, especially because I've got like a $3,000 PC. Like this is not a cheap like this isn't the cheap PC, so God knows what's happening elsewhere. But yeah, it's fun. It's Oblivion. People will buy it. It's probably already sold 6 million copies, and there you go. It's all fun and games. You could also just wait for Sky Oblivion. That's also a thing. There was a mod team that was remaking Oblivion in Skyrim for free. Which I thought was really cute. Obviously Bethesda knew that we were working. Yeah, they gave the whole dev team free codes and stuff like that, and we're like, oh, keep working on it because it's a different thing. Because like I say, this is this weird on Unreal Engine thing where they're remaking it, the entirety of it in Skyrim. So it's like I think it serves different audiences. People will still like Sky Oblivion, I'm sure. People will probably prefer Sky Oblivion because it was made by fans, because that's how that works.
that is how people be sometimes, yeah.
And they'll probably be true.
I'm excited
They'll get
that this
online
is
and be
out
like,
now.
how was this made by a team of 30 people? How did they do it?
It only took them 12 years. How did they do it? That's crazy.
How did they do it?
Oblivion was always the one I wanted to play after playing Skyrim anyway. Like, every time I saw something about Oblivion, I was like, man, I wish I played this one instead. But I never had an opportunity to because it never was on things I owned. So
yeah, and I think that for a lot of people, this is like for the PlayStation fans. This is the only way that you can play Oblivion, really, because on PS, you're gonna play Oblivion on PS3. You goblin gamers, that game ran awfully on PS3 if I remember correctly. So you don't want to do that.
yeah, and like it's funny because like this is just the story of my life with my experience with Bethesda because I played Skyrim, learned more about Oblivion, really wish I played that one. Played Fallout 4, learned a little more about New Vegas, really wish I played that one instead too.
Yeah. But no, it's nice to see this. I do sit there with Bethesda and I just wonder, we had this conversation with Starfield. Is it really a good idea to have this one team that works on 3 IPs so that you get one every decade and a half? Is this really where we should be going now? Like, obviously, I know Elder Scrolls 6 will probably be out by 2028, but it's like, it's ridiculous, right? At least, we all clown on GTA 6 taking a decade to show up, but at least there was a Red Dead 2 in the middle of it, Like, we could, it's like, there's only you got Fallout 4 and then you got Starfield, and then it's like Starfield wasn't particularly well received, so it's hard, dude. It's hard. But I do just sit there and I'm like, I'm happy to see this. Maybe they should take this positive experience and maybe do the same with some other games. Maybe one of the old, maybe Fallout 3, maybe Morrowind, if you dare touch that game.
Mhm.
I feel like that one's a bit of a harder one to do than Oblivion, because
Ju-
Oblivion's kind of just the
Just keep working
precursor
through
to
it in
Skyrim.
reverse order. See if you can beat
Persona to the punch.
uh
Yeah.
it. No, I meant see if you could beat all of those to release before 6 comes out.
No, there's a chance, dude. There's a chance. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty fun. Go check it out. If you, well, I mean, you're already fucking playing it. If you're an Elder Scrolls fan, you already bought it. The sound that it came out. It's good. It's pretty. Anyway, you guys had a fun week.
Oh yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Switch 2 was finally let out of the minds of the will they, won't they? Will the lovely tariffs affect us? Will they not? And the answer was they will not affect the console.
For now.
They'll just affect everything else.
Yeah.
Anyone want to pay $40 for amiibos, ladies and gentlemen? Bang, 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 bang. So that's fun.
I don't think I want to pay any dollars for amiibos, to be honest
Dude,
with you.
I was
think
on
I've got all the amiibos I want.
I'm kind of amiiboed out as well, because they announced the Zelda ones and the new champions. I'm like, well, the new
Yeah.
champions kind of suck. The only two that I'd kind of want is Sidon and Riju, because they're the only two I like. I don't want a
Not
Tulin.
Tulin?
No, unless it's the
You're a coward.
unless it's the shitty JPEG of him from Breath of the Wild as an amiibo. I don't want him. I would have bought that amiibo. If it was him in that pose, I would have bought that amiibo.
So the other, this is a side thing, but like a few weeks back when I was doing research for my article that went up a couple weeks back, I ended up on the Zelda wiki page. And not just on a whim, I went to Tulin. That shitty JPEG of him looking at the screen is what they used for the default picture for
course
him
they do.
on there.
That is his default
And-
picture.
That's
Dude, I went there and I just died. It was hilarious.
But yeah, I wish. But yeah, I was looking at them because all four of them, Tulin and Yunobo as well, they were all there.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I have the Ganon, the Zelda, and the Link from 2. I'm like, do I want these? I'm like, no, I don't want them. And then I found out that it's like they have gone up in price here as well. They're like £16 instead of 12, and I'm like, I'm not buying it. I'm like, fucking, I don't want to spend £16 for a Tulin amiibo, dude. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, they were like $30 over here.
Yeah, they've really
just
gone up.
spring a little extra to buy a better statue at that point.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what
That's always been like my thing with that's why I thought that like before amiibos were solid for the price point to quality, like a little bit more expensive than a Funko Pop, but substantially better looking because yeah, they're not a Funko Pop.
I don't know. Like I say, I've still been buying the occasional one. I bought like the Pyra and Mithra ones. I bought the Noah and Mio ones. I bought Splatoon ones because for some reason I own all the Splatoon ones, so I kept that going. Like number one Splatoon fan, ladies and gentlemen. I have all the Splatoon amiibos. Don't ask me why. That was a bad like. That was the
Did Big
definition
Man get
of
an amiibo?
yes, and I do have it. It's upstairs.
Oh yes.
But I'm just kind of amiiboed out, especially when they're all launching on Switch 2 launch day. And I'm like, bro, you're already taking a substantial amount of money away from me on that day when I buy a console, a controller, and a load of other shit that I don't need. I don't then also need to walk out of the store with 4
don't want
amiibos on the
Tulin.
same day. I don't want $100 of amiibos.
Fair. At least this way, if you really want the amiibo, you probably have a better shake at getting it than usual.
Oh, totally. Like,
you know, because everyone else is going to
Hunter,
be too busy with all the other stuff.
the funny thing is, though, Hunter, is it's like it isn't just those 4 amiibos either, because the Street Fighter ones were also out that day.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like,
To be fair, the 3 Street Fighter ones look really good though.
I
They
lied.
look really nice.
I lied, guys. They've not gone up because they were $11.99 amiibos used to be. They've gone up to $16.99. It's not even £16. It's 17. And the Street Fighter ones are 25.
Oh my god.
Like, actually crazy. To put that into perspective, I bought the alternate set, the Splatfest versions of Callie and Marie because I'm a weirdo that did that apparently for 25 for 26. So for £1 more, I got 2 amiibos back in literally like late last year. So amiibo inflation is real, ladies and gentlemen. But that's not the only thing. Pro controller went up $5. Joy-Cons went up $5. Basically everything that wasn't the console and or Mario Kart and DK Bonanza went up by what, $5 at least over in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, the
I
Street
believe
Fighter
that
6
is.
amiibos are $40 over
Oh,
here.
that's even worse. Like now I feel like I'm getting a bargain at £25.
Bro, just buy an indie game at that point.
Like, bro, buy
Legit.
Street Fighter at that point. Like, my God, like the game.
You buy Street Fighter. You can buy Street Fighter 6 for that money.
Yeah. That's
$10 more
crazy.
The game
dollars and
goes on
you're
sale every
$10 more
week.
dollars and you can get Expedition 33.
Hey, if you're buying it for PC and you go to a legit key seller, not like fucking one, I'm not gonna even mention them, not the illegal ones, but like the authorized. Are they authorized? I don't know what it means. People that actually partner with Steam, you can get some good deals, like good Green Man Gaming and stuff like that. They usually have good deals. You can get Expedition 33 for that much, easy, Hunter. Shop around a little
Yeah.
bit. It's probably more valuable than the Street Fighter amiibo. But yeah, so everything was sorted, prices were kind of locked in, and they were like, hey, retailers are going to be going live on the 24th. Was it the 24th? I think it was the 24th, wasn't it?
It was 24th, yeah.
A day that will go down in infamy. And then Nintendo were like, we'll be doing ours in May, and we're not even going to guarantee you that you're going to get it on the day. Great, Nintendo. That's wonderful. Don't know why you decided that, but sounds like a plan. So run us down. What was the plan? Did everyone say that they were doing midnight? I don't remember. What was the actual plan? I know the lack of, but what was it?
I had no plan. I just kind of looked on a whim.
I gave you a fucking PowerPoint. What the fuck did you know? Like you said you were making notes. You promised me you were making notes.
I lied. What do you want from me?
And this is why he struggled, ladies and gentlemen. This is why he was the last one to obtain a Nintendo Switch, because Hunter was a good boy. He watched that presentation 16 times and worked his ass
So I
off.
was already up at midnight, so I did check out.
Yeah, that too.
So I did check out Walmart and Target when they went up.
Yeah.
Best Buy is a little too far for me, and they don't deliver, so I didn't bother with that one. And eventually, Target just didn't work, and then Walmart put me in a line until it told me that it was gone.
No.
So, that was how that went. So then the next day, I was like, well, I guess we will. Actually, before Walmart told me that it was gone, it's this thing where it kept like bringing up the hold to confirm that you're not a robot.
Yep.
Except it was as if it was as if someone had a weight on my escape key, because I could never hold the thing. It was just flickering in and out of existence, and I was sitting there watching it happen. I was like, okay, I'm going to sleep now.
From what I've heard, it was like literal hell. Like it was like Target didn't work for the first 30 minutes. Like no one got an order through for the first 30 minutes or something at Target. I think Walmart was the most stable out of all of them. Was what I heard, and then
I could at least make progress on Walmart's website.
Which is like crazy, because I know obviously the US is a different kettle of fish, right? You've got hundreds of thousands of people that are all trying to swarm onto these websites trying to get them. But it's like you'd think that a company as big as Target, as big as Walmart, as big as, Best Buy would sit there and go, this is probably going to be one of the biggest like days of our life traffic wise, other than like Black Friday. Maybe we should actually back up our infrastructure and put some money into this so that nothing crashes. Just maybe.
Dude, like especially Target, the business has been down for that store.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some websites crashing over here in the UK, but nowhere near as many as you guys had. But it was just like an absolute nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. As someone who already went through a mini version of that in the UK, it wasn't that bad. In the end, it worked out. But it was kind of funny just watching all hell broke loose, knowing that I already had mine, and I was just like, oh, this is fun for me, because I'm like, I'm fine for launch day.
Yeah. So the following day, because
Mhm.
it went up at midnight, GameStop for whatever reason chose to do their pre-orders at 11, which is
I've got to give it to
right.
GameStop. I've genuinely got to give it to GameStop. It seems like, for the most part, obviously they had a couple of website hiccups, but in terms of in store and all
Yeah,
their priorities, they seem to have been doing a pretty decent job because they've been trying to sort through bot orders and stuff like that. In store, if your store still existed, you seem to be doing okay.
yeah. But um so that those pre-orders went up at 11 a.m. in my time. Like, so
Yeah.
that's right at my lunch break. The whole half an hour to try to get this thing. But for the whole half an hour, it didn't go up. It was basically just the not available grayed out button and 504 errors for that whole half hour.
Hell yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was sitting there. I went back to work pretty much just half-heartedly refreshing the page as I was putting the windows together at my job. And then eventually the button turned red. And I was like, oh, wait a second.
Hold up.
Hold up.
Uh, and I put the information in while still trying to jumble that between making the windows for my job until my
Oh my
Yeah.
coworker
gosh.
was like, "Hey, wait a minute, pause the conveyor belt. This is important."
That's funny.
Which thumbs up to him for understanding. But so yeah, I did that. I was sitting there watching it go through after I put my information in to purchase it. It sat there refreshing the processing of the purchase for what felt like an eternity, at least a minute or two. And then it just disappeared. It told me my cart was empty. Never told me that my order was confirmed on GameStop's website itself there. It just told me the cart was empty.
Hell yeah.
So I checked my email and I didn't get an email confirmation yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like an hour and a half later on my next break where I got the email telling me that my purchase was successful.
To be fair, on my second pre-order, for those of you who don't know the law,
This
I've
motherfucker.
at this point I've had up to 4 pre-orders for a Switch 2. I've cancelled 2 of them so far, but yeah, on my second one, that happened to me, where it's like the website was going down with like the website was going down while the order was going through, and the money had been taken out of my account, but I had still not had anything that was like processing or like anything, like no email. So I was like, well, that money's either just gone to the abyss or like it'll show up
see,
maybe after 35 minutes.
see, I didn't check my bank account while I was doing all that, so luckily I didn't have that element of stress for that hour of like, oh well, say goodbye to $480.
Well,
But
I'd be like, give me that money back right now. I'd be sending chargeback notices immediately. But
yeah. But it all worked out in the end. It was funny. I had basically assumed that I didn't get it, and then it showed up.
yeah, for now.
It was
Have you double checked to make sure it is on your account since then?
like on the GameStop
Yeah,
account.
yeah.
I guess I should check that, huh?
That'd be the biggest play of all time. And then you just find out, oh, it was never there. It was the friends we made
That
along the way. Like that was crazy.
that'd be
Uh,
funny.
Kyle, you had a bit more of a rocky start than Hunter. Hunter got his in. I'd like you got yours in on the day, right? On the 24th.
Yeah. Did
Kyle,
that
you were a
right
bit,
before, same day as picking up Expedition 33.
yeah, you were a bit late to the party, weren't you, Kyle?
Yeah, someone has to be.
It's always one.
Um, but yeah, just scrolling back in our chats. So I on the 24th, I came home from work and was trying to place my orders just to see it, just to see if I could get it, just to
He was
try.
originally going to stop at his local GameStop on his
I
way back from
forgot,
work,
But he forgot,
and
yeah.
also it died.
And
but
also
I
it no longer
forgot,
exists,
and the
yeah.
day after I learned it got shut down. So I guess I did a good thing by forgetting, question mark.
Yeah.
Um But anyways, so I came home from work, and then I was trying to just refreshing Walmart. That's all I had open. Walmart's website was all I was trying to use because I checked like Best Buy, Target, GameStop online. None of them had anything. All
Yeah.
their buttons were grayed out. Walmart was the only place I could make like any semblance of progress. Where like their pre-order pre-order buttons that was at least turning blue to like add it to cart.
Yeah.
Like 5 p.m. almost 6 p.m. I send you guys a message that's like, chat, we're so close with it in my cart, continue to check out, but it just kept giving me an error.
Yeah.
And then 3 minutes later, it currently unavailable. 25th, so that was Thursday, the 24th. The 25th, there was fucking nothing on Walmart's website.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Nothing changed. Had it open all day or all afternoon after work. Nothing changed. What are you? What are
Just
you
reading this conversation back through the Discord message is humorous as all. Both days end with the Gordon Ramsay sausage face.
Yeah. So, anyways, Friday was a complete bust. Saturday, the 26th, I wake up 8 a.m. on my own. It's the weekend. That's just when I wake up. I check my
Weird.
phone and look at social media, as I always do, as you should always do as the first thing when you wake up in the morning.
The healthiest
That's
way
how
to
you
live. Yeah.
that's how you start your day off right,
Rise and
folks.
grind, baby.
Trust me, I've been doing it for 10 years, and look at me.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, so I load my Blue Sky feed, and like all the stars align. There's a post from Nintendo Wire right at the top that says Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders with Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart Tour World, whatever the shit this thing's called. Mario Kart
Yeah.
8 World Tour
Yeah.
Guitar Hero Edition.
$80.
Super
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
That's live on Walmart right now. So I boot up, I go to the link.
Yeah.
And I managed to somehow secure a pre-order
Hell yeah.
after like trying to add it to my cart for like 10, 15 tries. It finally went through. And like I said, I wasn't trying to get the Mario Kart 8 bundle. Like, I was just trying to get something. Just to try, and like worst case, I'll just get a Switch 2 later.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have PS5 on release because I didn't need one.
Still
This
don't.
was just a why not. Yeah, you still don't need a
Still
PS5.
don't need it. Yeah, you still don't.
But yeah, I got my pre-order in.
But Ethan, how will you play Ghost of Yotei without your PS5?
Bro, I feel like this is the
PC.
first. Genuinely, this is the first year with like Death Stranding. Like, there's been odd games like Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank and Horizon, but it's like this is the first year where I genuinely am like, oh, Death Stranding's coming out and Ghost of Yotei's coming out, and there's like a 3 or 4 month gap between them, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Sony's remembered to release some video games again. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like, yeah, cool. I'm gonna actually play something because it's like. Last year there was Helldivers and then Astrobot like 8 months later. Like, jeez.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're all locked in. Like I say, we've all got
We all
pre-orders
managed
now.
to get.
But that was what I was like, Cal, at first when I got my pre-order, because my first one was with Mario Kart. Well, I just got my backup one was just a regular Switch 2 with no Mario Kart. I was just like, get something in just in case. And now all of mine are Mario Kart. I'm getting every single Switch 2 that's coming to the UK. They're all mine. I said it would happen.
What the hell is your problem?
I just think it's funny.
We're all out here fighting for our fucking lives, and Ethan's just rolling in Switch 2s.
It is funny that by this point,
all of them, dude.
by this point, I have had 4. Like, I have chucked 2 of them back in, including a smelly regular Switch 2 with no Mario Kart. But you see, I like to consider myself a charitable man. I get 4 Switch pre-orders and I chuck 2 of them back. There you go, poor peasants.
Ethan's the villain from Mad Max Fury Road.
I'm like Gru from Despicable Me, where he walks into the ice cream shop and freezes everybody in the line and then takes all the ice cream. That is me, dude. But yeah, so we've all got Switch pre-orders. We're all gonna be there. Launch day, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening. The Switch 2 day. What's Hunter gonna play on his Switch 2? We'll find out, I guess. Probably a Switch 1 game.
Deltarune.
Yeah, there you
Hades.
go. Yeah, well, yeah,
That's
that
the
was.
spirit, Kyle. It'll be Deltarune or Soul Calibur.
Oh,
You
hell
know,
yeah,
I
dude.
saw that. I'm very
Meet
much.
me on Soul Calibur 2.
I can't remember what the game. You know, I don't remember what it's called, but you know, is it Fast RMX, Fast Racing Neo, the third one that
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like $15 or something for the new game on Switch 2. Like it's less than $15. I'm like, you're now going
That's
on my list
awesome.
of games to buy straight away when the Switch. I did that with Fast RMX when that came out, and this is cheaper than Fast RMX. So I'm like, oh, okay.
But yeah,
I'll
this will be the
support that.
first console I actually buy with my own money to have at launch.
Really?
Yeah, I waited until my birthday to get the Switch because I already had Zelda,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I didn't need a Switch. And then I waited a couple months to get the PlayStation because I didn't really care. This time there was the incentive of it's $450 now, but it probably won't be in a little while. So there's
That's
that.
the thing it is the tariffs, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like even here in the
Yeah.
UK, I'm like what seems to
What
happen.
if?
The things that seem to happen is you know, well, you've seen what Sony's been doing with increasing their prices. Is oh yeah, America's the problem. Let's fuck everybody else over in the process and up everybody else's console prices so that America can stay at $500. So I'm just sitting there going, okay, yeah. I mean, I would have bought a Switch 2 anyway. You don't have to. There could literally be nothing on it, and I would still buy it because I'm just irresponsible when it comes to buying video game consoles, ladies and gentlemen. I own a Series X. Does that says enough, doesn't it?
He's been saying this whole time about how you can't trick him into using Game Pass because of the bad Xbox app, and he owns the console that would get him around that problem. And he still won't use that either.
I'll have you know that I've been using my Xbox because that's plugged into the big TV, so I've been watching Doctor Who on it when it comes out every Saturday, and then I turn the Xbox off again. That's what I use it for.
Perfect.
Your Switch 2 will see more use in its lifetime on launch day than your Series X will.
Probably. They put Forza on it, I'd buy it. That's a threat.
A threat?
Yeah, do it. But no, so we'll all be there at launch. We'll all be playing. Obviously, we'll be playing Mario Kart World. You can expect reviews of Mario Kart World and all sorts of gubbins when that comes. We're all ready. We're all good to go. How many Switches will Ethan have on that on that podcast episode? Find out. I'll stack them all here. We'll see how tall the stack goes.
I'll keep pulling him out of his sleeve like Mr. Bean with the pens in that one clip.
That would be really funny if I was like, hey, yeah. So yeah, you know, bring up my Switch 2 of Mario Kart World and go, oh yeah, I've also been playing Fast whatever, and then just chuck that Switch away and bring out another Switch with Fast on it. That would be funny, but I'm not that irresponsible. See you in June.
Bless you, Hunter.
Bless you, Hunter.
Thanks.
Anyway, let us know how your Switch 2 troubles have been, if you have had any, and you know. Maybe go back and watch that presentation. It made sense. I did tell you to not trouble and don't even bother trying. I did tell you that. They're all mine. Let's wrap it up with a little bit of LA Noire. I've played LA Noire, ladies and gentlemen, because I had a week off from work and I had nothing better to do. And I thought, you know what? I'll bring Tim Rogers out of retirement. I launched the game, and 30 seconds later, he released his YouTube review. So you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a bit that actually happened. That actually scared the shit out of me. That was when I was like, oh, maybe life is a simulation.
Tim Rogers is in your walls.
Yeah, and then maybe I was like, oh, maybe I am the main character, guys. I just launch the thing, and the thing I want gets there. Maybe I am. That's why I've got 4 Switch pre-orders, guys, because I'm the main character. That's how it works. But no, a friend was pestering me, and I was like, yeah. A friend was pestering me, and I was like, you know what? I've put this game off long enough. I'll just start it, and that was just a quinky dink, and it was a good quinky dink. So anyway, I've played LA Noire, and let me tell you guys, let's rewind the clock real quick. There we go. That's perfect. There we go. Mercy. I've got to say, it's all right. I don't really get the big hype, really. I thought it was fine. There you go. Hello, Mercy.
That's the spirit, Ethan.
Ah, yes.
I love how you feel.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Oh, perfect. There we go. See? Well, you see, the game's pretty mid. I think that's what they said back in the 40s.
Kind of weak, if you ask
Ethan
me.
enjoys the camera saturation
weak in the
joke more than he liked the game.
That's true. It's fine. Like, I don't get the fuss. I thought it was just like average. Like, I said to a friend, it's like Danganronpa, but not ironically funny. Like, that's what I said. It was like...
It seems like Ethan can't even generate the joy of talking about it the same way that Danganronpa is at least fun to talk about.
I can't laugh at it because I'm just solving actual murders here that aren't funny. Like, you know, I'm just like sitting there going, what is this? It's very weird. But I think it's all right. I think it's interesting, but it's very much a product of its time. And what I mean by that is it was made in 2011, so it has this big open world that it doesn't need because it's a case game where you just you drive around to cases. They could have all just have been smaller hub areas where you had a couple of yeah, exactly, or menus.
Get in the car and it just drives you there in a cutscene.
There's a button to do that. You hold the triangle button and your partner drives you there. I did that all the time because I didn't want to drive, because what's the point?
Do you still have to like sit there for the physical car ride though? Because what I was pitching was it fades to black.
If there's a conversation that progresses the story, then yes, there is.
Oh.
You'll sit there, but as soon as the conversation ends, it fast travels you there. So it's like a mixture of both worlds. So yeah, it has that. It has a load of collectibles. It has a load of side crimes that mean absolutely nothing. You just walk into the place, shoot the place up, and then walk away. You're a police officer, by the way, but that's what you do. You walk into a place.
Cop.
Yeah. That's what I was doing. I was like, it's the 1940s. I just walk in, someone steals. That's a crime. Bang, bang. Justice served, and then walked out.
No, they still apply that today, so you know.
I didn't say that. I love America and everybody in it. Please let me back in when I need to go back in, please.
You don't want to come back here.
Things that people from this country are also saying when they come back from vacation.
Hey.
But yeah, it has a lot of just weird choices. You know, the combat very much feels outdated. It
sounds like a game that really shouldn't have combat in the first place.
No, not really. Like, I was sitting there. My favorite part of the game, the game is broken down into 4 kind of areas. You have 4 kind of areas that you're put into. So you spend X amount of time in traffic, X amount of time in homicide, X amount of time in vice, and X amount of time in arson. And these cases are all spread around them. And traffic genuinely does just feel like, it sounds stupid, but it is just like normie Danganronpa, where you get a random crime that's happened and you're looking for clues and you're interrogating people, and it's just quite fun. They're like these little standalone missions, and I liked that. And I think that's when it's in its strongest, is when it's just a good little mystery that you're just walking around and you're trying to solve it, and you get to the end and you've solved it and you feel like, oh, it's a job well done, I can go home and sleep at night. The homicide desk is, you basically are after a serial killer. There's a load of mass murders that are happening. But the issue is every single time you do the case, you solve the crime, you end up having to convict somebody that you kind of in your head know isn't the person that's responsible, because it's a set of mass killings. But the game makes you go through this. And, in my head, I'm like, what's good game design is, you fuck it up twice. You convict the wrong person twice. The third time you realize it's a thing and you go off in a different direction. You make a couple of fuck up. This game, Homicide has 6 cases. 5 of them are you doing the fuck up. You do the same, you go for the same thing. Oh, it's an identical killing that's happened in the identical kind of way. got to analyze the body and then go after the husband, who is clearly not the person that did it, and then we'll go through the whole rigmarole each and every time. That's 6 hours of my life playing, basically watching the same case on repeat every single time.
Oh, it's like an Ace Attorney when you have to accuse whoever happens to be the witness.
Yeah.
Because at least there's like a canonical reason to do that. Even though you know it's wrong. Probably not the right person, but you know.
And I think that's a really, I feel like that, you know, you've got 6 cases in Homicide. I think that's a really interesting idea to do it with like the final 3 cases, where it's like, you know, but it's like every single case is the exact same. It's a dead woman in a certain location that's had, you know, that's been throttled with the same rope in the exact same way each and every time. And I'm just sitting here going, I'm bored now, guys. This is the same case 5 times. And you know, a lot of the gameplay loop is investigating, interrogating, and then these awful chase sequences, which are very, very PS3, where it's like, he's getting away, get after him. And you're either running on your feet, like holding the R2 button, trying to tackle him to the ground, where you either get to him and you tackle him, or in most cases, they make him too fast for you to actually chase. He runs around a corner, he'll punch you in the face, and then you've got to do a brawling section where you just got to punch the guy to death like an Uncharted 3. And that's basically what that is. Or there's car chases, which is the exact same thing, but in a car, which will either stop at a predetermined point, or your partner will finally learn how to shoot his gun and actually shoot a tire, and then the guy crashes. Like, it's like, they're very basic.
You can't even hit their back tire to establish dominance. You just gotta wait for your partner to do it.
So you're just playing this Homicide case, which has got, you know, very unsatisfying conclusion. Whatever. I'm like, okay, Homicide's a bit of a miss. You get into Vice. Vice is more interesting because it's narcotics and drugs and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, this is more interesting again. Some good cases. And then at the last case, the game then remembers, oh, shit. We're supposed to have a story. This game's supposed to have a story, right? So in the last case of Vice, which is the penultimate desk, they decide, okay, we're now going to have a mainline story and overarching narrative of everything that happens. And then the whole of Arson is concluding that. So the game has 26 cases, and it spends its final 6 cases actually trying to tell you a story. And I'm like, what are we doing here, lads? Like, I feel like you either go one way or you go the other. You kind of have the whole game have an overarching narrative to it, or you have the whole game be independent cases and it's really satisfying to play. And you end up with this mishmash of half a game where there's no actual progression in the narrative whatsoever. You're just playing as this guy. And you see flashbacks of Phelps' life and what he was in what he did in World War II and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, piecing together little bits and pieces that don't really mean anything. And by the end, they mean something. But it's to the point where I'm like, you've lost me. I don't really care. Like, I really don't give a shit. It's very weird. It's got a very weird kind of pacing to it where I almost wish it was just me solving cases and just having a jolly old time. There's no real rhyme or
it seems like it should be one or the other.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
like things link up where it's like, oh, okay, the reason why the Homicide case didn't go so well is because this character that's is related to another character that's in this section of the game. And it's like, it all makes sense. Like, I'm not sitting there from a narrative point of view and going, hang on a minute, this doesn't add up. Because it does. It just makes for really boring storytelling where I feel like I'm doing nothing for the point of, like, for the sake of it.
Because, like, for a minute there, while you were explaining what these all were, I was sitting there thinking Homicide was like the main story or whatever.
No, it's like a third of the game.
But yeah. So I was sitting there thinking that was like the main one, and you just do the other ones which in turn begged the question, why not just have you hit a roadblock in the case besides accusing the wrong person? Just say the evidence that you had can only take you so far, and then introduce a new element to it when there's a new thing to do.
And that final section of the game where it actually does have a narrative and it builds up, I'm like, part of me it's like it's too little too late because there's only 5 hours of the game left. But that 5 hours is good, where I'm sitting there going, oh, if we had spent more. What also sucks is the final 5 cases, 3 of them are like half an hour. They're 3 of the shortest cases in the game. Where I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is getting interesting. You know, the police, Phelps, who's part of the police force, has been told to basically stop sticking your nose in this. You don't know how deep this goes, basically. the police are involved. So you get somebody else involved in it, and you play as this other guy for a bit, and I'm like, oh, this is actually interesting narratively. I wish there was more of this, and it lasts literally like for 5 cases, and one of them was a DLC that just is randomly fucking placed in the middle that doesn't really fit very well. It's like a narrative fucking like stop sign. It's just like, no, we put a DLC here that means that adds nothing to the story whatsoever. Because all the DLC was included in the PS4 re-release. There's like 4 extra cases that are slotted in the middle of the game, which I think are interesting. They're some of the best cases in the game. Because of course they are. That's how DLC for this kind of stuff works, right? But also, I was sitting there and I was like, really? The second to last case, you stuck a DLC in between the penultimate and final cases? Why? Like, that's just a really bad idea. What's really funny is in the story, there's a gap where you don't play as Phelps for 6 months. Like, he was in traffic, he gets promoted to burglary, and then you pick up 6 months later where he's been promoted again to homicide. So there's this whole burglary point of his career that you just don't see. And if I had not been told that the DLC had already been made and was already planted in everywhere else, I'd be like, oh, they left a 6-month gap there for DLC. The burglary will be the DLC stuff. They'll have like 4 or 5 cases of burglary DLC. That makes sense, right? You know, like Assassin's Creed 2 Hunter, where they added like the Forley stuff, and that's, you know, Secrets 12 and 11 and 12 or whatever it was. But no, that's just a random.
That makes sense.
That's a random gap. The DLCs and all the other cases.
Gap that they didn't use. That's hysterical.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I like the game enough. I sit there when I'm doing the actual interrogation, the interrogation mechanics, the good cop, bad cop accuse, which I think used to be truth, doubt, and lie. I don't remember what they changed the names in the PS4 version because people got confused. Because that's why the famous X to doubt. Yeah. X to doubt. Yeah. No, it's press X to bad cop now.
That's lame.
But yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. I like those systems. The facial animations for the time are quite interesting because they basically just take a person's recording and slap it on a model. It's weird. It works sometimes. It doesn't in others. It's an interesting game, but I feel like it's trapped in its era, where it's got an open world it doesn't need. It's got these car chases and these gunfights that don't particularly play very well. It's got these narrative moments that just feel absolutely pointless. I like the way that they, you know, a lot of the homicide stuff, what makes the homicide stuff interesting is it's based on true crimes that actually happened in that period. The Dahlia killings is like the main source of inspiration from the homicide case. And if you know how the Dahlia killer went, it's that mystery was never really solved, or they just stopped happening, and nothing was ever brought. No one was ever actually brought forward as the Dahlia killer. But when you have 6 cases leading up to what that resolution is, you're just kind of like, oh, well, that was a thing. That last case is brilliant. The last case is you basically putting together pieces of clues and going through the map, the world, and going, okay, I need to go here and look for a clue. That's brilliant. That's the one good use of the open world, is there's a case where they give you no information, just basically a classic kind of murderer's note and a poem. You've got to try and figure out where the next piece of the puzzle is in the world, and then go there and pick up the next clue. That stuff's great. And the final act where you're actually, mixing between these characters and the story actually happens, brilliant. Love that. The first 4 cases in Traffic, I think, is great because that's just like Ace Attorney, where you just get a random case and it's like, oh, we're going to go and do this today. That's great. There's just a load of middle fluff that's just like nothing. Like, I just feel nothing. Nothing is progressing. You're not doing anything. Phelps is not a particularly likable main character. There is reasons for that. But also, I don't care. And then the game just decides to end. The game does this classic thing where it's just like, and that's all, folks. I'm like, really? We're just, okay, that's it? Yeah?
He slaps the cuffs on him, hits his cigar, and then the credits roll.
Well, noirs are known for just
kind
of just
LA
ending.
noir.
Might not be a good ending, might not be a bad ending, but a load of noir films are known for just, that's it. That's the end. And you're like, okay. Doesn't work from a narrative point of view because it feels like we got absolutely zero character development until the final 3 hours of the video game. But hey ho, I still think it's fine. It's decent. If you like mysteries, you might like it. You might like it more than me. I just see that it's like this detective game mixed with a load of Rockstar fluff that's not needed. And I just sit there and I'm like, you don't have to do the Rockstar fluff. I'd recommend
It'd
you don't
probably
do the
be better if
Rockstar
you
fluff.
didn't. Yeah.
But there's some great cases. There's some really good ones. There's some fun stuff. But I don't think it's aged well. Well, it's not aged well. It really hasn't. The facial animations were really impressive for the day, but I'm watching them now and they're a bit crunchy and it's like a bit uncanny valley because they've basically taken somebody's facial animate. Like they've taken the facial capture and they've kind of plastered it on a model. So it kind of looks a
Yeah.
bit 2D and a bit pixelated. So if it's on a wrong angle, it kind of looks like their mouths are just like, it looks like PS1 games. And I'm like, oh.
All I can think of is like the Sam Lake mugshot that they use for
yeah, that's exactly how it
first
looks. Yeah,
Max
that's exactly
Payne.
how it looks at times. Yeah. But it's impressive. I liked it enough. Some of the dialogue is very funny. The acting is very good. It's got some very good acting. But overarching story, I was just sitting there going, "Oh, is there a plot? Is there a plot?" There's these newspapers that I keep picking up that show me a little bit of a plot. And then when I finally got to it, I was like, "Oh yeah, there's a plot. That's cool. Oh, it's gone now. Okay, that was fun. That was fun. That was a good
Sounds
20 minutes."
This would have been a particularly annoying thing for me to like experience through completely blind as far as knowing that detail, because I would have been sitting there being like, oh, I'll open the little notes document that I make for mystery games, write these down, be sitting there tracking what I think would be an overarching story for half the time and be like, wait, this is stupid. I'm going to stop doing this.
I mean, you can
And then
do
suddenly it would be important.
you can do little bits of that. Like the newspaper articles you pick up, you can go, okay, what's this leading to? Why is this important? Why are these characters why are they showing me flashbacks of these characters? Why is this happening? The homicide case, obviously, you start accusing a lot of people that it clearly isn't. So then you can start picking up on clues on trying to figure out who the murderer. I figured it out beforehand, so you can do that. That's the most interesting part about homicide is you can figure that out. But I am just sitting there going, okay, from this Phelps point of view, why? What are we doing here? Like, why are we like this? And then as soon as the plot does pick up, I'm like, why have we not been doing this the whole time? Like, why haven't we been doing this whole time?
How soon did you figure out that homicide case? Because I could imagine if it's very early, sitting there waiting for the game to catch up to you.
On
oh
the
my
second
god!
or third, I was sitting there.
Oh
going,
my god! Waiting for the game to catch up with you with this kind of stuff is so annoying.
And the only bright side is by Murder 2 or Murder 3, even Phelps is saying this is clearly a mass murder. Like, this is not a copycat killer. This is the same person. And everybody else around him is going, no, do it by the book. And we're like, oh, for fuck's sake. So it's like, Phelps is also kind of annoyed in that situation, but that doesn't excuse being bored as fuck out of gameplay. Like, I'm okay, yeah, cool. Phelps is also bored of doing these cases. Why have I got to do another 4 of them then? Can someone tell me that, please? Like, why, like... I don't need 6 copycat killer cases. Especially when most of the time, like I say, by case 2, I knew that I was running a fool's errand, It was just like... There is literally one where I'm just like, dude, it's not this guy. Everybody knows it's not this guy. Why are we chasing him down in a car? Why is he running away? Like, this is stupid. There's some really good cases. There's some really not good cases. A lot of it feels forgetful, though. Like, they're just forgettable. I think Arson and Vice are really good. I think Traffic's pretty fun. That Homicide's my least favorite part of the game, which is funny. My friend was like, Homicide's my favorite part. I'm like, okay, you know what? You do you. Fair play.
Out of context, this conversation would be really funny.
Homicide's my favorite. Yes. Homicide, I love it.
Nah, man. That's
I'm privy
weak.
to Arson myself, dude. Yeah.
Arson is what I prefer.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think it's always fun to go back in these period pieces, especially when they're not so... This isn't a love letter to the 1940s. It's a love letter to noir style kind of pictures and films, but it's not sugarcoating anything about the 1940s. It's like, it's not sitting there going, "Hey guys, racism, sexism, all of that jazz." That didn't happen. It is very much still there, and there are terrible people, but it's I think that yeah, I'm indifferent. I'm very indifferent. I can't wait to watch a 10-hour YouTube video about it now. I can't wait.
It's pretty cool.
Have you watched all of it?
No. I'm like 7 hours in.
Oh, good. I mean, it's a fun
But
game.
it's very good.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's a very good video about a game I don't know anything about.
It's a fun game. It's like I say, it's an interesting game. I'm glad that I played it. I'm glad that I
Yeah.
played it. I feel like it would have been great if I'd not played a murder mystery kind of game. I feel like this is a great first murder mystery game to play. As someone who has done this, been there, worn the t-shirt, laughed at a couple of really tragic anime crime games. That's what I'm going to call them because they're crimes in themselves, not the fact that there's crimes in them.
It's true.
I'm just sitting there and going, "Bitch, please, that's it. Like, it's just that simple. They left the thing in the please.
Where's the sauce?
Where's the sauce?"
I
The
can't
only-
believe they didn't make me play Hangman to get this clue.
That's true. I was sitting there interrogating someone, and when they said we need proof, and I just went into the notepad and selected the thing, I'm like, wait, I didn't have to spell it out? What? Like, that's crazy.
Why didn't Cole just shout at them? That's not true.
To be fair, he does do that quite a bit. He does.
You're
Stop
lying.
lying to me. Like, he does that a lot. Or a lot of people are like, "Do you? I don't think you can say that, detective, without some proof." I'm like, I'm a literal detective, and I've just done a fucking search of your house. You really think I'm going to bring this up if I don't have proof? Like, please. It's very silly. It's very gamey, but I like it enough. I like it enough. On the boom meter, dude, I'd give it 3 booms. Okay, that's where I'd give it. That's where we're sitting at. That's
Out
where we're
of
sitting.
5?
Yeah. Out of 5.
Okay. Is this our new review scale?
No, that's like no. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Can we come out of the 1940s now?
Nah, see, back to color. Wow, there you go. Wow, that's crazy. Good job, everybody. Oh god, I feel like
Oh,
I feel
we're
like my
back.
camera's way too saturated. Actually, that's what we do. You know, I'm not gonna mess with it because consistency's key now. You just have to deal with me being overly saturated. But yeah, it was
Trust the
fun.
process.
It was a use of a time. Like I say, I like using my time off from work to play
Was a
games
use of
that.
time.
No, but I like using it. And this one wasn't a 100-hour video game, right? So it's like I've done other things during this break. But it's nice
Yeah.
to force myself to play games that I know I'm not going to necessarily go out of my way and play anytime soon. Like it's always a good time to go into the backlog and go, okay, where are those 7s? You know, where are those games that I know that aren't really gonna 100% gel with me?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. That's why I booted up Earthbound. I want to give the game another try because I've never actually finished it, but I have this week off of work, so I'll actually try and finish it this time and see if I still agree with me from 11 years ago when I played half the video game.
Hell yeah.
Your week off of work didn't come with Easter? That's funny.
I don't know, dude. This is just when I got my week off.
I don't
Sometimes
know.
it is what
It's
it is,
just-
dude. It is what
That's
it
just
is.
how the calendar
Don't
fell.
question
I
it,
got-
Hunter. Don't question it. Don't
I
question it.
got
He's
0
playing
days
Earthbound.
off for the holiday last week as well. It was funny.
You'd think it'd make sense,
It's-
but you know. Oh well. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? Back to 1940s. What are you gonna do?
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. They do say that. Forget about it. That's all they say. The whole game is just like, you committed the kill. You committed the kill. This is how the game goes. I'm just gonna stop. while
You
I'm
did
ahead.
kill.
You did kill. I did not do kill. Forget about it. It was it. Mamma mia. Pizza pie. I'm Italian. Mamma
He was
mia.
dead when I got there.
Gabagool.
Gabagoo. He died when I looked at him. He fell over. What can I say?
I don't commit to crimes.
I didn't commit the crime. Oh well.
He was like that when I got here.
To be fair, I'm surprised no one does pull that one. You'd think they would. Anyway, That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you ever so much for hanging out with us this week. Next week, I don't know. What do you think I am?
Who
Psychic?
cares?
Who cares? Don't. How dare you? How dare you? Who cares?
You guys want to look at more artwork?
That's what the children yearned for, the artwork, apparently. Dude. Like, that's what they yearn for. New
Man,
video
I
games?
love
No. Random box art from the PS2? Yes. Crazy Frog? Yes. Yes, please. Am I still so lazy that I still have these
It's
two
still
games
here.
sitting here because I've been lazy and haven't moved them? You bet it.
Dude, I love that. Throughout this whole week, every time I went to check on that video, I saw that it got another 20 views. I'm like, yes.
Dude, I made a video for
success.
the Devil May Cry show like 2 weeks ago, and every day I look at it and I go, that is getting way more attention than I thought it would.
Hey guys, yeah.
Every
well,
so often, your old like Dante quotes video will show up in my feed, and I'm like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but it just
get ready to
shows up
see the other
sometimes.
one. It's on track to pass that one at this point.
Oh
yeah,
my
it's
god.
like 17K views. Jeez.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude.
YouTube
left the
Studios
target
telling
audience.
telling me 18,000 at the moment.
Oh
an-
my god.
Cuckoo bananas.
That's
It's
funny.
like Crash Team Rumble all over again. This video has left the target audience.
Bro, I'm still...
Someone help.
It's
Bro,
just
Toy
very
Shop, come
powerful
back.
word association.
Yeah.
The song and the character have the same name.
Hell yeah. Anyway, next week, who knows what we'll talk about? I don't, but you will soon enough. But until we get to that, thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll be back on next Monday for whatever Hunter can come up with, because let's be real, that's what's going to happen. But hey, it'll be fun. Did I put the links on screen? I don't remember if I did. I'll just do it again. I don't care. I'm all for self-promotion. Go follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky if you want to keep up to date with what we do outside the podcast. And yeah, that's it, gamers. Go home. Thanks for listening. We'll be back same time, same place next week. But
You heard him. If you're at work, go home right now.
Yeah, dude.
Walk
this
out.
This is your free pass.
The
dude.
bell doesn't dismiss you. Ethan dismisses you.
That's true. Hang on. Hello, yes, this is the doctor of insert name here. They can go home. Thank you. There you go. Just play that one. Yeah, I got you. I got you guys. Anyway, go home, and we'll see you same time, same place next week for more, I guess. But until then, have an awesome week. Fingers crossed nothing shadow drops. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Doodaloo.